Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. So look up. This is what we're going to do today. We're going to break down some videos that I think that you need to hear, folks. We're going to talk about some very extreme ideas moving across our nation and how is that going to affect us, the little people, right? Let's start with Louisiana. So Louisiana has a couple of major cities. One of them is Baton Rouge. Now, if you've ever been in the South, if you've ever traveled through Louisiana, you probably went across the Mississippi River going out of Baton Rouge, right? Well, Baton Rouge is in trouble. And not just because of crime statistics and a failing school system, but the city has torn itself into two. You heard me right. Baton Rouge has been a Democrat-run city for 50 plus years. And it shows, folks. Crime is up. Failing school system, a crumbling infrastructure, and their soft on crime. I mean, it's just gotten out of hand. It's one of the most dangerous cities in America. Per capita, if you look at how many people live there to how many violent crimes happen, it's extremely dangerous. Now, the interesting fact is, there was a group of people on one section of Baton Rouge that said, hey, we pay 60% of the taxes, and that tax base is not going to what it needs to go to. Our kids don't have good school systems, so we put them in private schools, and we don't want to fund any more of this nonsense from EBR, East Baton Rouge. So they created their own government. You heard me right. They broke away. Now, they've been fighting this in courts for about 8 years, and they have won. The Supreme Court in Louisiana said, yeah, you can do it. You can split away and create St. George. Now, what's funny is that you will hear people say this is all about race. In reality, only 60% of the people that are going to live in this new area, this new incorporated city, separate from Baton Rouge, are white. There's 40% other. And more minorities are moving to St. George faster and faster. Why? Because it's safer. It's got new government. Things are run properly. And guys, the Democrats are they're coming apart. And why? Why would they do that? Well, because if they can do it here, you can do it anywhere, right? So say that you live in Chicago or New York, and your city has been controlled by Democrats for 50 plus years, and the city's failing. Look at the charter of your state and consider splitting off. So watch this clip.
That they are entitled to the tax receipts that they collected since 2019 while this was being fought out in the court. And this is, again, millions of dollars, since large portions of the tax base were actually located in St. George. And it seems like the residents of St. George are only trying to get a portion of that. They're also trying to get a portion of the revenue, again, which is related to their population, from the county. And this is standard fare. However, you have all these black representatives and all these black activists calling these people racist, talking about how the black residents would be better off without the residents of St. George, while simultaneously saying that their money needs to be kept by Baton Rouge, the city, even though they are no longer being governed by Baton Rouge, the city.
The vote of 17,000 now impacts 400,000 people who live in East Baton Rouge Parish, because of the general fund that's $1 billion of city parish money. 300 million of that is not dedicated. And they're going to take away $48 million of resources from the general fund in order to create this new municipality. So I don't really care if they go off and segregate themselves, but I do care that we paid into the fortunes of that portion of town for the last 50 years. And to say that you're going to start a new community and then we owe you money for that community, well, we've been paying a whole lot for a long time, and we want our portion to be paid for if you're going to get it.
It would have on the budget, what potential cuts would have to be made.
But she stopped short of crunching numbers at this point because she
said... So
said...
now you know, Democrats are panicking, because I believe this is going to sweep across the nation. I believe in the next coming years, you're going to see more and more people go We don't want to be part of the state. We don't want to be part of the city. We're tired of funding the bills, but being told that we're racist, that we're ignorant, that we are dangerous, and you're going to see more and more people take back power. That is the beauty in the American Constitution. You have a right, folks. Yeah, you're going to have to put a little money and a whole lot of time into it. But if your city was like East Baton Rouge and you're done with it, consider starting your own city. Now, folks, all of you know we're going back to Maui, August 1st through the 12th. Please consider donating even $1, and several of you have, and it is such a blessing. Right now, we have a little more than $3,000 to pass out to the fire victims. That's because of you. But I believe in you guys, and I know in my heart that the new people coming onto the channel, row with us. Send that $1. Let's make a difference in their lives. And speaking of Hawaii, this is where I'm so tired of the government feeling like it is the parent of the Americans. That is never how our constitutional republic was set up, folks. You'll hear so many people say, save the democracy. Well, we're not a democracy, okay? We're a constitutional republic. The federal government is not your parents. They are not your paycheck, and they're not here to care for you. Because when you start giving them power, they won't stop taking it. And something you will see that's even in the Republican Party, so it's frustrating to me, but it's true. Regulations, rules, they want to micromanage you. Freedom is about making your own consensual decisions as an adult. You should not have to have a plastic bag that says choking hazard, suffocation hazard on it. And I remember in the 80s when those things began changing and people started seeing warnings on plastic bags and on toys, because people have become so dependent that everything's got to have a warning on it because nobody is responsible for themselves anymore. Well, look what they're trying to do in Hawaii. They're literally trying to say that indigenous women that would like to give childbirth, however they choose to, adult women, can't have a doula or an indigenous mother come and help them. You have to be certified. Because, oh my gosh, what if something happened to you or your baby, right? It always sounds good, but have you taken the consideration that this woman might want to give birth on her husband's familial land? Maybe she wants to give birth in the ocean. Maybe she wants to do it the way that her four women did it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you get people in there micromanaging how other people live their lives, why would this even be a discussion? If you're an American adult woman giving birth, you should be allowed to give birth any way you choose to, even if it puts you and your baby in danger. And I can easily say that because the way I look at it is like, it's freedom, folks. It may be a little risky, but it's the way that she wants it. You're not free if you can't do it the way that you want to do it. And that is another thing that the Hawaiian Democrat government is trying to micromanage. And it's frustrating for the indigenous women because they have a way they want to do it. And they're being told, no, it might be dangerous. So no, you can't do it. Then you flip over here to Flint, Michigan. Now, most of you remember Flint, Michigan because of there was metal in the water. Remember that? And all these poverty-stricken people were basically, their children were being poisoned by the water, which is still going on, I might add. Now, Flint, Michigan wants to give people money for having children. Now, it sounds good, right? The economy sucks. Nobody can argue that. But my point is this. Who's your daddy? Who is your baby's daddy? It's not the government. So why would you give people money for having children? If the World Economic Forum and WHO is telling us that the world is overpopulated and it cannot sustain the amount of people that are on it now, why would you give money to people to have children? Because this has been done before, but it's normally in places like Italy where there is a huge drop-off in birth compared to death, right? So why is Flint, Michigan giving women money to have babies? Like, I don't know, you guys, but the first thing that came to my head when I read that was, who's your daddy? You know, like, when do we put a stop to this kind of nonsense? Because, see, it's all socialist ideas. That's all socialist. Don't give us more money. Cut the taxes. How about that? Stop the illegal migrants from coming in and taking the jobs of our husbands and our sons and our daughters so that they can actually get paid living wages for their skill set. Do that. That is what you do. You don't give out more programs to give out more free stuff to people. That's a socialist attitude. And you're going to see that begin to pick up around the country, because this is how they're going to get their votes. They're going to buy you. They're going to give you a living wage. They're going to give you free insurance. They're going to give you, lock you up in your house and leave you there to rot. There comes a point where you have to stand there and you have to ask the question, do I want the federal government to micromanage everything in my life, or do I want the right to think for myself? And then I saw this clip. What you're looking at is where the rail line was proposed in California and where the fires were in California a few years ago. A lot of people said they followed the exact same route. No, they didn't. This is propaganda, probably put out there by somebody that wants to make people on the right sound crazy. Please do your own research. I love to educate people and I like to share with you guys, but that does not mean every word out of my mouth is always correct. This next gentleman is going to bother you a little bit. His name is Jeremy, and he claims to be a pastor.
Who's involved. Like, there's also like foster care and being pro-life after the person's life, after the baby is born and all of that. That is not the argument that will resonate with them, because for them, they feel like if anything is contradiction to the Bible, then it doesn't really matter. The Bible trumps everything. So that means the conversation starts with you saying, hey, mom, dad, crazy uncle, I have been studying the Bible and what it says about abortion, and I've been really surprised. And you've got them hooked. And you're going to start with sort of the lesser proofs, the lesser Bible verses. You're going to look at the one from Jeremiah where it says, God numbered the hairs on your head. And you're going to say, look, I was reading that, and it turns out that's actually not about the God creating us. It turns out that's actually about Jeremiah's call as a prophet, and like his call as a prophet being from the very beginning of who he was. And so it's weird because a lot of people quote it to say that like, oh, that's proof that life begins before somebody is born, but that Bible verse doesn't actually talk about that. Another lesser verse in the argument, that's the verse from the book of Psalms where it talks about God knitting us together in our mother's womb. And again, this is an interesting thing because it's a poem, and poem is figurative language. And so to use that to talk about like biology, it's not that, right? It's talking about God creating us, God creating who we are, and that in our cells, in our beings, the deepest part of who.
So after watching that, can you not understand how confused people are nowadays, and why I encourage you guys to never ever listen to online prophets and or pastors? You need to be in a good spirit-filled church, guys, where you have a pastor you can actually talk to, because this guy is so off base that it's scary. And I prayed when I heard him. I was like, Lord, I pray that you tongue-tie him, confuse him, and if he does not repent of his ways, get rid of him, because he is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Now, guys, I need you to do me a great big favor. I need you to go to my new channel, Life with Sam in Louisiana, and subscribe. And I need you to watch those new videos I put out so that we can actually get monetized on that channel. hopefully by August, so we can start pulling in that money. There'll be more money coming in that I can give away while I'm in Maui. Folks, we love y'all so much. Right now, I am so focused on giving the king of the Hawaiian Islands a platform to speak to his people. I'm so focused on bringing the truth of what's going on with the red tape and the building permits and people still having to pay mortgages, and giving the fire victims a place to speak. Now, are we all going to agree with everything that comes out of their mouth? No. But I'm not going to cut off somebody because they don't agree with me 100%. I'm going to find people that go, this was a do. They took our kids. And I'm going to find other people that were going to say this is a wildfire and we need more regulations. And whether you like it or not, people have a right to speak truth. Now, what I'm fixing to show you really upset me when I came across this story. What they're doing is basically for organ donors. Say that you die, right? But you're an organ donor. They wait until you're dead for 2 to 5 minutes. Then they come back and they make your heart start beating again. Yeah, you heard me right. They basically bring you back alive. Even if you're brain dead, they bring your body back alive so that they can harvest your organs while there's still blood flowing to it. Now, I know that for the person who needs that organ donation, that is a good thing. But guys, on a moral scale, this made me even less likely to ever donate my organs because I'm dead. I don't want my body back alive. And then you have to wonder, I don't care what they say, oh, they're brain dead, they're this. Their body still feels. Okay, so now they're alive. And I'm going to show you a clip, and it is disturbing.
Curved Mayo scissor and opens the pericardium while taking care not to injure the heart. The pericardium is open widely and the incision is carried cranially up to the level of the innominate artery. The assistant retracts down on the heart with their left hand and retracts the innominate vein cranially to provide exposure to the innominate artery. The surgeon bluntly dissects the pericardial reflection over and under the innominate artery and, using some brute force, slides a vascular clamp across all 3 head vessels to exclude the cerebral circulation from the pump flow. A small seat clamp is then placed on the tip of the right atrial appendage to use as a handle and stabilize it and prevent it.
So what you saw them doing was opening up the chest to attach the probes to make the heart beat again, to send blood throughout the body. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, folks. I just don't. So tell me what you think. All right. So I hope that you will row with us, guys. Row, row, row. We can do this. When we're doing it together, we are unstoppable. Remember what the Bible tells us. Where 2 or more are gathered in my name. 2 or more. That's you, and that's me. God bless you guys. I love y'all so much. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tonight, I have another open house for the Shiloh Montessori School, so I need to go get inside and get ready for that. I promised Leslie, the newsletter editor, I would work on the book today, so I'm going to keep my word. Guys, if you have not signed up for our bi-monthly, which means twice a month, newsletter, you need to. If anything goes down with social media, you and I can stay in contact through the newsletter, okay? Not to mention, it's stinking amazing. It's stuff that I can't always say here, she can say there. Any donation amount at all, if you'll put your email address for me, I will send your email to Leslie. You'll get the next newsletter, which comes out on the 15th. I love you guys. Have a blessed day.
All right, we just got a letter in the mail. It feels like I want to, what's them called?
A card?
Yeah, a card. Snowflake, Arizona.
Love it.
Did not know there was a snowflake in Arizona.
I doubt they have many.
Yeah.
It's probably a nice little rural town.
Hey, dude, you want to open the mail? Okay, come on, paper.
Daddy just came in from work and some kind person. Uh-oh, you messed up the name. I'll have to look at it later.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying not to tear no more up.
Oh, it's Jesus.
Who do you
me
love?
some
Jesus. All right.
Let me do the reading.
you can do
Oh,
the
it was
reading.
a cash donation, guys, for the fire victims. Oh. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, guys. It's people like you that are make all the difference in these fire victims' lives. God bless you guys.